how's it going? How is everybody doing? Today is Saturday, the 21st of January. So, we're almost all the way through January already. Unbelievable. Although the good thing about that is that means we're that much closer to warmer weather, which I will be very thankful for, because it is definitely a bit nippy out today here in Ohio. In fact, I believe they're calling for, I didn't know this until I heard about this morning, they're talking about a possibility of 1 to 3 inches of snow tomorrow. Yay. I could do without the snow, honestly. I've said that in videos before, but it is what it is, so at least, you know, it's on a Sunday. I don't have to go anywhere. I'm not. The only place I'm planning on going is maybe going over to stop by my brother's house when he gets back home, if he remembers to get a hold of me. And then I might stop by my mom's house to pick up some stuff from her house, a couple of my dad's power tools. You know, she'll let all us boys kind of look through and decide, you know, if there's stuff of his that we wanted, that we would take it. She'd rather us boys take it and get use out of it than, you know, just giving it away to, you know, a group or selling it. So I'm going to get some of the power tools and make use of them, because I do little woodworking projects and obviously stuff around the house. So yeah, but went with my mom this morning. That's what I did. First thing this morning is we went and we got a little breakfast at Mickey D's, and then we went to Versailles, Ohio, to kind of a somber type thing, but I had to go pick out the monument for my dad's grave. If this is the first video you watched and you don't know, my dad passed away back in November. He lost his battery, a few different things, physical ailments, but ultimately the thing that really took its toll on him was his you know, mental stuff, Alzheimer's, and it's a nasty business. It's a terrible thing to watch someone you love go through that. But I know he's in a better place now, and I know he's probably having a blast where he's at. You know, just not any more pain, no more worries. So we did that. And I came home, I watched a little bit of TV, and now I'm going to open up this box right here. This is, of course, you've seen from the title of the video, the newest Horrorpack. It was weird, I didn't get an actual like shipping notice for this in my email. Or if I did, I must have just, you know, when I was going through and cleaning out emails, I must have just deleted it without realizing what it was. But you'll find the web address for Horrorpack down below in the description box. This is a monthly subscription. What it is obviously horror oriented, hence the name Horrorpack. There's two different options. You can choose a DVD version or a Blu-ray version. I myself get the Blu-ray, a little bit better quality. But you can actually, if you wanted to subscribe to both of them, you could, because they don't put the same movies out on DVD or in the packs on DVD that they do on Blu-ray. So you can actually subscribe to both, and each month you would essentially get 8 different movies, 4 on Blu-ray and 4 on DVD. The DVD version is $24.99 with free shipping in the continental United States. The Blu-ray version is $29.99 with free shipping. Once in a while, well, every month they have one of them, whether it's the DVDs or the Blu-rays. They always have one of the 4 that is a limited edition. And what that means is that it's either a movie that you literally can only get because it's being released through Horrorpack, or it's another movie that's been released or is being released not necessarily in the theaters, but straight to Blu-ray or whatever. But it's a bigger, it's a bigger studio or whatever. But they have something that makes it unique in their release through Horrorpack. Either maybe it's got some additional special features, or it's got different cover art. Once in a while, they'll actually do signed ones. Now, normally those aren't like the bigger releases. It's more the independent releases, but occasionally they'll have one where it's signed by the director or the producer or one of the cast members. So, but each month, one of them is a limited edition. And it's amazing because I have a lot of horror movies. I probably have out of my DVD Blu-ray collection, which is like 2,000 probably movies. I want to say probably a third of it is horror. And since I've been a subscriber to this, which I've been a subscriber for a couple of years now, I want to say probably about 2 years, maybe a little over, maybe a little under, I'm not exactly sure. But in that time, there's only been maybe 10 movies, if that, were ones that I already had. And even then, a lot of times, they were ones that I had, but I had them on DVD. I didn't have them on Blu-ray. So I was able to keep the Blu-ray, and then I just got rid of the DVD. So that's pretty good. But yeah, you do get a lot of I don't say not like say let's just say minor studios. Would that be a right thing? We're not talking like MGM or Paramount or like big studios like that, but some of these smaller studios, you do get a lot of their horror movies in this pack, which honestly, a lot of times some of those lower budget, smaller studio, independent type horror movies are sometimes some of the best. Always comes in that nice little box, which I always keep. I'll break it down, stick it over there. I got boxes everywhere, so they're all break down though. Okay, they're not like scattered everywhere. They're out here. Eventually, I think I want to go through them and just get rid of some of them because I've gotten actually more than I need. And then you put them inside this little bubble mailer, which is nice and plain. It still has the little the strip on it, so you can actually take and keep that if you ship stuff, which I do with my business. You'll Treasure Island. You'll find information down below to my business name, page on Facebook, my Macari, Poshmark, whatnot. So I always keep stuff like that. Saves me from having to go out and buy shipping supply. Alright, here we go. 4 Blu-rays. One will be a limited edition. What are we getting this month? Because this is for January. First one is Ill. Final Contagion. The Infected Will Find You. This is what it says. A rogue scientist in Chile illegally spreads toxic and biochemical substances by way of contaminated money, leading to a worldwide pandemic. Why does that sound familiar? Not the money part, but pandemic. Yeah. First, the virus is spread in Italy, where 2 women steal a contaminated case of cash. Then in Kosovo, a transsexual pays for surgery only to find that all of her injection sites have been infected with the virus. Lastly, a father in Germany tries out extreme methods to save his contaminated son from succumbing to the virus. So I wonder if that's like those 3 different stories are all kind of happening at the same time in different parts of the world, and they just go between them, or whether it's more of kind of like an anthology type story where they focus on each one individually, like 3 little stories. Number 2, And I'm going to say this is probably the limited edition one just because it's got the actual Horrorpack logo on the back of it. And yep, this is a Horrorpack limited edition Blu-ray. Wish You Weren't Here. It's called Worst Laid Plans, an anthology of vacation horror. So there is the cover, pretty cool cover. And then there's the back. There you can see the Horrorpack. So this was an actual Horrorpack release. So a lot of times you do get with these movies, you'll be able to tell when you're watching it. Sometimes you can tell that they probably filmed it on, they didn't film it on like state of the art like Panavision, HD film cameras and stuff like that. So occasionally it might have a little like grainy look to it, so forth. That's kind of the charm, I think, of some of these smaller studio, lower budget horror movies. But as far as like, yeah, granted, sometimes the acting can be a little hokey and stuff. But again, sometimes it's just the way it is. Other times that's how it's supposed to be, to fit in line with whatever the story and stuff is. But oftentimes what I find is actually, a lot of times the acting is actually really good. The effects are normally on par with what you get. And a lot of times you get where they do a lot of practical effects, which I actually, in a lot of cases, I prefer. Even if it don't look necessarily as good as what like they could do digitally, the fact that it's done through practical means, where they actually rigged something up to film it in real time and not just added it in post. I like that. That it says something to me that they're putting in that. Because the easier thing would be if you got the people with the know-how, is just to film stuff in a way that you can go in and just put it, add that effect in, that blood spatter or whatever it is, add it completely in post. But I like it when they do it with practical means. Number 3, we have Reunion, Julia Ormond. Every Family Has a Legacy. Julia Ormond. That name sounds really familiar. Says a pregnant woman returns to her recently deceased grandparents' old family home to spend time with her estranged mother. What begins as a tenuous reunion slowly turns terrifying. A psychological thriller that preys upon perception, Reunion sees veteran actress Julia Ormond deliver a tour de force performance of threateningly quiet intensity and features a twisty narrative that will burrow itself into the darkest corners of your mind. So this sounds like it's definitely a more, not like a visceral, like horror for the eyes so much as like as far as effects and stuff like that, but more of probably just like a true psychological type thing. Sometimes those can be some of the best too, when they don't rely on like actual the violence and the gore and stuff like that. Which, as a horror fan, I like all that stuff. Don't get me wrong. Anybody that is a horror fan does. And what I found, honestly, a lot of people, frown upon that. Especially people that don't really like horror movies. People, we've all heard the BS right through the years that, watching stuff like watching horror movies and all the violence and everything, that it breeds violence and, it makes people do crazy things. It's a bunch of BS. We all know that. What they do is they always look for, when something bad happens like that, that's what they look for. They look for something instead of actually blaming the person that does something. And that they were just messed up in some way. Or that they were just, a bad egg. They look for something to blame, whether it's video games or horror movies or heavy metal music. I've heard it all because I'm in all that stuff. And you know what? I've never gone out and had the desire to hurt anyone. In fact, it's just the opposite. I think a lot of times the metalhead community, people that play video games and people that watch horror movies and stuff, were some of the most laid back, compassionate, caring individuals you can meet. Because we do have especially within those groups, but people don't want to look at that. It's easier just to find something to blame instead of putting the blame where it really belongs. The person, somebody chooses to do something, that's just it. They chose to do it. Okay, just because they played Doom, back in the 1980s or whenever it came out, or Mortal Kombat or whatever, whatever they want to put the blame on, it doesn't mean anything. But anyway, rambling off topic. Always got irritated with that. They always tried to blame stuff, and they've always tried to censor stuff because of that. Anyway, number 4. We have Distorted. Well, it's got Christina Ricci and John Cusack in it. Don't fear the lies, fear the truth. When did this come out? It's like 2018. I don't remember hearing about this at the theaters. But obviously, it must have been... Well, it's Echo Bridge. It says Echo Bridge Acquisition Corp. LLC. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't look like it's got any big studio, like I said, like an MGM, Paramount, a New Line, stuff like that. But it's obviously, those two are fairly big name actors. Christina Ricci obviously has got, I think, a recent resurgence from her appearance on the Wednesday series, which I'm so thrilled to see that's coming out for a second season. Jenna Ortega is absolutely phenomenal in that role. It says Lauren and Russell Curran decide to move away from the bustle of the city and into the peaceful oasis of the Pinnacle, a coveted luxury condo that boasts ultramodern design and state-of-the-art features and security systems. That always starts out bad, don't you? You should know that. You should almost think that going in. When some places over the top with security and stuff, and it seems like almost too good to be true, usually something's going to go wrong, When Lauren starts to suspect that the building has a dark side, she seeks help from Vernon, an investigative journalist who has an interest in cyber conspiracy. Together they come to believe that the Pinnacle may be brainwashing the unsuspecting residents. And hence the name Distorted. So they're kind of brainwashed and their reality gets distorted. I'm guessing something along those lines. Yeah, that should be good. I like Christina Ricci. Well, there we go. That is the Horrorpack Blu-Ray subscription box for January 2023. When I'll get around to watching these movies, I have no idea. Maybe I'll try to watch one of them tonight. We'll see. But yeah, make sure you check out Horrorpack. Go over there. At least go to their website. Check it out. If you're a horror movie fan and you're like me, you like having DVDs, Blu-rays, stuff like that, rather than just streaming everything, it's a great deal. $30 for 4 Blu-rays. Come on. And especially because a lot of times you do get, you will get, again, movies that you might not see at your regular department stores and stuff. And of course, the limited edition, which in most cases you can only get through Horrorpack, which is a movie you might not otherwise ever hear about. So For the money, it's a great deal. So make sure you check them out. Also, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And check out all my stuff. I got the Old Treasure Isle page on Facebook. I don't post on it very often. I'll be honest, I don't. But you can get there and look there, and you can get an idea of what I do sell through my business. And I sell on Mercari, Poshmark, whatnot. You'll find the website for my direct Mercari store down below, and then my username on both Poshmark and whatnot. So if you want to go follow me on all that stuff, that'd be great too. Outside of that, obviously by the time you're watching this, the weekend's probably gone. But so I'm just going to say I hope you had a great weekend. Yeah, you went out and you did something fun. If you're in a part of the country that was supposed to be getting snow on Sunday, like I said, right now I don't know whether we're going to get it or not. But if we did, I hope you maintained safety if you had to be out and about in it. So well, it takes a little bit. Honestly, just a little bit on the roads, and it can get treacherous. Because just the other day, I went to drop a cushion off at our upholstery shop, and when I was coming back down to turn onto the interstate, I was in a work truck. It's a Ford F-150, and I went to turn, and there was just a very fine layer. I mean, we'd had just a minimal amount of flurries, not even enough to cover the roads, just enough to where it got a little wet in spots. But because it was so cold, that instead of it evaporating, it was making just the finest layer of just probably like ice that you couldn't even really see looking, but it was there. And I know because when I went to turn on the interstate, the back end of the truck went sliding out, and I had to let off the gas and just turn the wheel just a little bit, and then just kind of let it straighten itself out. Because that's what happened. If you start to slide one direction, I mean, if you've got the room, if you're not in fear of actually hitting something, just let it go. Just take your foot off the gas and let it slide. Because if you take your foot off the gas and not hit the brake, just off the gas, your car, you'll keep turning, but you'll come to a stop, and then you can straighten it out manually. Yeah. But if you're somewhere where there's a chance that you might hit somebody else, then again, take your foot off the gas, don't hit the brakes, but just turn the wheel just a little bit so you can get the nose of your car kind of going back in the direction you want to go, and then kind of let the wheel straighten itself out. That's just my experience. I'm not a driving instructor or anything like that. I'm just saying from my own experience, that's how I've managed to keep from fishtailing or spinning around and stuff when I've been in those situations. It was a little frightening, I'll admit. I wasn't expecting it because it didn't look like there was anything on the roads. But, yeah. So if you're out and about, obviously in the snow, be careful. Outside of that, hey, look out for yourself and those around you so that we all have a much better chance at staying safe and healthy. Until the next time, see ya.